Tough, who used to be, I believe, Emoji Supreme, a fellow clanmates in Clan Kraken. You all voted to take a look at this replay next, okay? So this is the Tromp. The Tromp is a tier 10 Dutch destroyer. I believe you can get it for coal, right? Isn't it coal? And her big thing, of course, is she's got the Dutch airstrike. I like to call that the Dutch oven. She's a fantastic boat in her own right. She's been buffed actually a decent number of times because her guns, quite frankly, aren't that great. They're okay, but they're not that great. She also has torpedoes that are okay, but not that great. Her concealment is okay, but not that great. Are you kind of getting an idea? Her maneuverability, okay, not that great. And the big thing that makes her shine is the Dutch oven, the ability to drop airstrikes from a decent range, and this box is a little on the smaller side, and the planes are deliver the bombs pretty darn quick, so it's relatively easy to hit your targets. Relatively easy. I will say it's a good way to train and learn how to use the Dutch oven. However, keep in mind, because the timings are different for this ship compared to the light cruisers, compared to the heavy cruisers, compared to even Prince Van Oranje, it's yeah, you kind of have to change up your aim and stuff, but it kind of helps you at least at the beginning. And Tromp doesn't have speed boost on her. She's exactly right, Chromo, exactly right. And thank you, SAT, 260,000 coal. There you go. So let's go and take a look at Hank Tuff's build then and see how he's done this ship. So main armaments modification 1, engine boost, aiming systems, airstrike. This gets the Dutch airstrike back quicker, concealment, and then main battery mod 3. So he's got the ship basically set up as a Dutch airstrike, and then falling back to the guns. Hey, Mark Bork. I will say, personal opinion here, I might think instead, and SAT, you can tell me how you feel about this. I might think instead of running Torpedo Tubes mod here, just because I find that really in priorities when I play this ship, my first priority is the Dutch airstrike. My second is going to be torpedo launchers, and then my third and final is going to be main battery. I really only want to do main battery to finish off a target or maybe set it on fire again. Or I'm in like a destroyer knife fight and I've got no choice but to engage with my guns. That's kind of how I look at it. What's the range of these torpedoes? 12. Yeah, so I kind of feel like maybe trying to get a little bit more torpedoes wouldn't be a bad idea. I'm a comfortable gunboat player, so you like the guns for following up on DCPs after strikes. Okay, then that makes sense too. That can work. That can work. There are only 3 racks of torpedoes, right? There's one on each waist and then one in the middle, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
There should be two racks of torpedoes.
2 on each side?
One on each side.
Yeah, and then one in the middle, right? No, it's just one on each side. Okay. I thought there was one in the middle. I had to zoom into the model to see it.
Yeah, that's kind of a weird looking hatch.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, that's fine. And then as far as your build is concerned, you've got Helfrich, which I mean is really purpose built for this ship. He's good for the light cruiser line as well, and he's also good for the heavy cruisers. But he really shines with the Tromp. You get 50,000 damage, and he gets an extra stack of damage that happens up to 3 times. If you get a Wither achievement, that helps with main battery reload time. That kind of synergizes with Tromp, but that's much better for the Dutch light cruiser line, and maybe even heavy. And then you've got also, after 50 successful bomb hits scored, then you get 1 extra airstrike flight available, plus 3 squadron aircraft on the deck. So that makes your Dutch airstrike that much more potent. That also allows you to charge an additional airstrike. But keep in mind, you don't just automatically get that airstrike. It allows you to charge it up for future strikes. Okay, so good synergy there, and he also has a buffed skill with Demo Expert. So your build is Preventative Maintenance, Last Stand, Survivability Expert, Concealment Expert, Radio Location, Adrenaline Rush, Liquidator, Grease the Gears, and Demo Expert. I mean, that's a fine build. SAT, do you see anything you don't like here? Thank you, Malarkey.
So Hank said he was he said he was comfortable with the guns.
Hmm.
Tromp ballistics are pretty good. They can hit ships even at longer ranges. So I
Mm.
feel like you'd be better off with the extra range and a four-point skill.
Instead of radio location?
Radio location, that one could be useful to defend, to kind of like see where enemy destroyers are. But
Yeah.
yeah, that would be the first thing I trade. But
Okay.
if you want to keep that, then you will have to sacrifice Demolition Expert, the Liquidator, and one of the 1-point skills.
Right.
The only reason I don't use the extra range for the captain skill is that since she's so sluggish, that as soon as you try to go dark, you're not going to.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if there's another destroyer out there.
Tromp likes, typically you want to play it at longer range anyways. You have 5.8 concealment, but that's more for like if you need to do emergency destroyer work. That's not her forte anyways.
Okay. Okay. Well, I mean, this is a fine build too, though, right? I mean, there's nothing... Like, I would also want to get the main battery turned faster,
I
yeah.
would switch out Liquidator just because it's not useful at all.
Okay. And what would you pick?
I would switch out
Symbol?
Liquidator and Demolition Expert. Demolition Expert doesn't affect the bombs, if I remember correctly.
I use my Torp reload.
Torp reload is okay. I think main battery, the 5% boost to reload would be more consistent though.
Okay. So my boss, that could work too.
Yep.
Part of the reason why we're doing this talk, for those of you that are new to the channel, is there's so much involved in World of Warships that there's a lot of nuance here, right? So we're talking through. The end result is like core build plus adrenaline rush is all you really want to start with. It's what you focus, and then everything else is gravy. So you just figure out what works for you. Okay. Well, let's go into the flags then. You've got HP, fire flood chances, flood chance, fire chance, speed, and then anti-air. Okay, sure. You left 2 flags in port. You trying to conserve a little bit? Uh-oh. You're poor. Yeah, you're conserving. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Play more clan battles. Buy more Santa crates.
Right? All right, let's
Use
drop.
more red contain.
Yeah, that's true as well. That's true as well. These are the moments when you understand that you don't understand anything in this game sometimes. There you go. So, straight tier 10s, no carriers, unfortunate since you have defensive anti-air fire, and no subs. Wow. Wow. Okay.
Is this the legendary matchmaking?
It really is, right? Like, congratulations, you found the real game. The game inside the game. Wow. Tuneup is still doing it legit, bro. Look at you.
The destroyer setup, it looks kind of rough though. So you have Sherman and Druid, both which have high concealment. The enemy has all relatively low concealment destroyers, so the caps is not going to be in your favor, most likely.
Right, and on top of that, we've got a division of Colombo, Hawaii, and Vamp Deuce. So that's going to be a real problem. Like, if I see them, I'm going to be really upset, like, right off the bat.
Funny enough, there's 2 ways to look at it. If you can see it as the the worst possible situation because, oh great, that means you're going to lose. Or you can see it as the best possible solution, as then like you just farm so much, but the enemy Unicum div, you know they're going to do well. So they kill your team as fast as you kill the enemy team. So that's where you get your god games.
Yeah,
I definitely clocked that.
You just have to hope that they're not on your side, right? That's kind of what I'm getting
I was hoping
at.
they were on my side, weirdly enough. I was sort of praying that they were on my side so I could slow them down a little bit, considering...
Okay. That's another way of looking at it, but you slow yourself down in the process.
When it comes to damage farming, you don't want to meet the enemy div because you know they're going to play well, and they're not, and they're most likely not going to play to your benefit. So that lowers your damage.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I'm more of a play to win kind of guy. Like I feel like the PR and damage will come if you're just playing to win the game and playing smart, like maximizing your own impact. I think the PR and damage kind of comes with that personally, but I'm not a super Unicum guy. Like I'm still in the blue, low purple, green territory.
Okay. Nice
Wait,
torpedoes.
shoot
That's a
here.
good guess there.
With the RPF advantage.
Yeah, well, that's where radio location comes in handy. That's absolutely where radio location comes in handy. Sterny!
Torpedoes,
I
achter
thought
ons.
you would have at least used your guns a bit.
You had a good
Motorversterking
opportunity to.
geactiveerd.
Sterny, thank you for the gift subs, my friend. You gotta go? No worries, no worries. Hopefully you got yourself some good Salt Shaker destruction effects for all this. Breaking down the firewall financial lack with a gift of 5 subs. Your generosity is the real treasure here, Captain. Thanks for steering the ship towards generosity and community. Guys, enjoy the pictures from Stevie's life. Look at them. But I do agree, you could have opened up, but I kind of also like the idea of not just so that the enemy doesn't know where to clobber you right away, but
Hier de positie van het doelwit.
The last ED wasn't spotted yet, so if they were there, if it's the Vampire or the Daring, I know that puts me in a really bad position with no smoke, so that was my...
You have speed boost. Get good.
that's where the engine boost
Hey,
comes
I'll
into
use it
play. But the thing for you is, and I see this a lot, you're using engine boost right now. Hey! We had our sub goal, let's go. Thank you guys. The big thing for you though is you use the engine boost to maneuver someplace, but I think what you want to do is get in the habit of using the engine boost for when you're, like now, in a gunfight and you're being shot at. That's when you really need the extra ability to dodge stuff.
Motorversterking gedeactiveerd.
And also, the 2 airstrikes, I generally don't like using on destroyers because even with 11-second lead time, they're destroyers. They can move a lot in those time periods. This is where you wish you had it for the Hawaii.
True, true. Although I think the first on the gearing would have been okay, yeah?
I have a running point of pride for getting airstrike kills on DDs. It's even something that I aggressively do in clan battles, so I know that it's not the theoretically optimal thing, but you'll just have to forgive me on that. I'm keeping a running tally.
Hey, you do you.
All right.
One of the fun things for me in the game, you know?
Hmm. No, the fun is when you Dutch airstrike a sub. That's where the fun comes in. Oh, you
I
burned
have
out the
one
what?
depth strike on a sub, and it
I've done that multiple times.
Gestuurd.
Awesome. Hey, Kramoa.
Hi, how are you?
Fine, fine. How are you?
Mirror.
Make sure
So-
to send your make sure to send a PayPal payment to Hawaii.
Seriously, seriously. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Guys, we've woken up Taro.
Teamgenoot, ik heb je hulp nodig. Alle
Taro
strijdkrachten,
just gifting out 10
verover dat
subs.
gebied.
All right, guys, I'm gonna pause the replay for a sec because we are now in a hype train. And as a reminder, we're knee deep in a Tromp replay. So we're gonna go ahead and take a look at the Tromp replay here. You just burned out of Hawaii. Hilarious. And
I did
from
Venmo him.
yep, from a
for the
kite
payment.
div that obviously are working together. You know the Vamp Deuce and the Colombo are in the middle cap and the C cap. You got 2 destroyers up to the north. So, what's your line of thought now?
Torpedo's, recht vooruit.
You gonna go for the
Things are getting
Colombo?
hot over here. I know the
Yeah.
Colombo's coming in hot,
Torpedo's, recht
and I'm
voor
expecting
ons.
that the Vamp is going to be
Teamgenoot,
supporting
ik
him.
heb je hulp nodig.
I'm not exactly sure where the Gearing and Daring are, but my guess is they spun out to like 8-9.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And so I'm just trying to recontest for my team to get some spotting going without putting myself in the direct line of getting deleted by a Colombo.
Probably a good idea, although you did turn right in front of a Colombo. There he is. But you did go dark, so that's neat. Okay, so you went and you Dutch airstriked the Daring, and I know SAT mentioned holding it for other purposes, but unfortunately you didn't know the Colombo was gonna round the corner,
Torpedo's, achter
and
het
he just
schip.
made Inky right when you're about to drop anyway.
Torpedo's, achter ons.
I agree it's not optimal. SAT is right, and anybody trying to get better at Dutch ships should listen to him.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, we all have our quirks.
Torpedo's aan stuurboord.
That's very true. Rose Scorpio, what do you mean 15% from discounts on top of clan 15%? Are you talking about like?
It's the highest It's the highest discount
Torpedoes,
applied. It
achter
doesn't
ons.
stack.
Oh, for what?
Sometimes Wargame will have like 15-20% off at like Christmas time for entry ships.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
Torpedoes on
if your clan's already
stuurboord.
maxed out that base, I don't think you get any real benefits.
Oh my god, you killed the daring.
Vijandelijke torpedobootjager tot zinken gebracht.
It's just such a good feeling when it happens, you know? I can't help myself.
Yeah, like reverse shotgunning a sub.
Gedeactiveerd.
If he decides to sit in smoke, he deserves to get hit.
He actually ran out of that one full speed, and I managed to predict it just right. So I feel pretty good about that one.
Yeah. Okay. Chip discounts almost never beat out the clan discounts anymore, except at low tier. Unfortunate.
So now my thinking here is I'm seeing Columbo and Vampire on D.
Yeah.
C is opened up, and the lib is coming across. I tried to get the Druid to sort of help me out a little bit earlier, but it seems like he wasn't really the helping out kind of guy, so I figure I'll just go and try to make something happen in a better spot for the team.
Why AP here? Because you... Well, okay.
I would have at least be a lot more bow in or stern out, just because people have a habit of shooting destroyer or closer ship in front of them, which
Yeah.
just so happens to be you.
He just fired at the Yoshino, so I knew I had about 28-ish seconds to
Got
get
it.
a few shots off, and I was angling to turn in until he ate those torps. But yeah, I
Yeah.
agree on that one.
But
Okay.
he would have still, if he still chose to shoot you, it would have still hurt a ton. That would have been at least 10k
Yes.
off.
Cheers to you, Harrion. AP because sign of dominance. There you go.
But that range DAP is not too bad. I mean, you can get 1 to 3k chunks, and considering how low he was and that he was about to eat torps, I didn't think that the fire pressure was worth losing the
Yeah.
overall pure damage.
Yeah, definitely AP was the right choice in that situation.
Okay.
DDs can use AP too. Sometimes, rarely, but you can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wasn't sure if you were gonna try to go for, you know, for fires to force out DCP and stuff, but at that low health, he's probably dead from Torps anyway. Oof, rip the Holland.
I feel like you could have definitely opened up on the Holland there.
I did.
You did?
It's
Just
taking a minute
one
for my
salvo.
guns to get to him.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
you
I
had
did
like
shoot him.
I think you had like another. You could have gotten another salvo in. I think, but okay, he's dead.
Did I not try to? Oh, I'm not sure.
Hard to tell. You had a lot going on, to say the least. That should do it.
How many? What's the ship count to the left? It's kind of hard to tell.
He's ahead by 2.
Yeah, 7 to 5. My Sherman and my Columbo are both pretty low, but we're up 2 ships right now.
Mhm.
Yeah. Funny enough, before you also had the option of not going to sea and just farm out the Thunder. That, surprisingly enough, might actually have been the better play, just because you could have killed the Thunder and made sure that you traded your Columbo for him, and then Libertad would have taken the cap anyways.
That's a possibility. I do like the idea though of still saying, even though we're ahead on ships, we're not gonna take too big of risks, you know?
And I know that the Vampire is a very good player. One of the best players in the game right now. So I was thinking he and the Gearing and the Genon can work together with the backup from Thunderer guns, that
Yeah.
if I find myself in a position where I get caught, I'm going to be giving a lot more away than to just use the islands and the cover to proactively sort of get my
I'd
team
shoot
in a
the
better spot,
Napoli.
and then, you know.
I would have gone after the Napoli.
I would have stayed with the Libertad. I mean, Defense and Sherman are on the Napoli. I'd stay up here because there's 2 targets up here to kill.
That was my thinking, yeah.
You kill the Napoli, that frees up your people to go take A much faster. And then
True.
Libertad, he's, I mean, what are you gonna do? The Genon and the Gearing just gonna torp him. Are you gonna
Yeah.
just heroically dive your ship in front of him?
No. You let him take all the torps and die so that you can farm these 2 guys after they've expended their ammunition.
Exactly. That is exactly what I was thinking.
Come
He's
on,
gonna
SAT.
be a nice big juicy
Why am I
target,
having
and I'm just gonna
flashbacks
sit
from
and try to farm.
random battles with Zath once upon a time?
What flashbacks? Come on.
The thing
sacrificed
is, there's, yeah, you're kind of hoping that, well, they sit in there. Fortunately, this is random, so the likelihood is quite high.
Mhm.
But again, if there were better players, then this is not really the most reliable strategy.
I mean, the funny
I'm
thing
definitely
is,
putting my money on black here a little bit for sure. It's a bit of a gamble.
the funny thing is that there are two smoke screens, two separate smoke screens. So you know where gearing was. Oh, look, there's his torpedoes. You also know where the Janan is. And the funny thing is, the funny thing is that your radio location, okay, just flipped back to the Janan. So you know exactly how far away the gearing is. He's over here, just behind, just farther back.
Yeah, exactly. And because the gearing's last known on the map was heading south,
Mm-hmm.
and his smoke appeared behind the Genons at B9, I knew that he had to have turned back and been heading north. So even before my RPF flipped, I was kind of looking my Torps over in that direction.
Yep.
Keeping track of the enemy DD, I think, especially when you have a DD that doesn't have smoke or like a lot of useful resources for your team, is one of the things that can really kind of make or break a game for you.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. Yeah, RPF is perfectly fine here.
Now, what that's going to allow you to do is literally just bum rush the gearing, because you figured that the Libertad is going to kill the Janan. So, you just... oh, there's a Yoshino on the border, too. Oh no, your Libertad died. Oh, the humanity.
He served his purpose.
By the it's
Thank you for your
Libertard.
sacrifice.
He did his part.
Arcadians, they make a mess of things. He knew the assignment.
So you might not think you're going to get a death pick here. You might think, with only a single gearing with FHP, that this is a replay where you don't get a death pick, but spoilers.
So, funny enough.
Well, thank you.
So Tromp, like, you do have 5.8 concealment. That sometimes works against you, though. Your DPM is not great, but your ballistics are. So you actually want to fight longer range battles. In fact, this favors gearing quite heavily, so he could in theory trade. And if you're point blank like this, you're just torped. Goodbye.
And this is I talked about this. SATU and I both talked about this actually last weekend with what was it, the it's not the Icarus, the Lightning, the tier 8 game, right? Where this is another example of the islands actually wrecking your concealment, right? And that allowed for an up close and personal, oh my god, surprise. Whereas if you had been farther away from the island, you would have been fine, right? You would have been better off.
100%.
Yep.
Yeah, I greeted because it's the last ship, and the way the gearing had been playing, I honestly thought he would be kiting off. I was genuinely surprised when I saw him nose in, but if it's not the last ship there and we're winning the game handily, there's no way I pushed that aggressively. But it was a calculated move. I'm just bad at math.
I also would have expected him to have luck chucked a torpedo earlier as well, with how much torpedoes he was chucking. So I wouldn't have expected him to have torps ready.
The thing is, this is a randoms. Like, the problem with facing randoms versus fighting really good players, the good players are predictable. You know they're going to take the best move or the second best move possible. Randoms, they're dumb. They're going to do all sorts of random stuff, including that. And and they will somehow random the worst possible outcome, even though objectively it's a bad move. And that's how he kills you.
Yep,
Agreed, 100%.
Yep. Could have hugged him on a pass. Or just
I did
ran.
finish him off here, though. I think he dies to a fire. So it ended up being a trade in the end. But it was definitely a very greedy maneuver. Not recommended if you're trying to min-max.
Fair enough. Hey, Papa Fabian. For those of you guys who don't know, when we do replay analysis, if the player sends in a game in which they die, we, as you can see, stop and take pictures of them dying. Just because it's fun. Also because if I put this out to YouTube later, then that is what I use for a cover picture. The gearing had torps ready, but our Tromp friend here, Hank, did not.
Yep. And then he got too close. Gearing was able to rush him, offset the HP advantage, and just torp him. But thank you for the death pick, though.
Yep. It was a good death pick. I think
That's
the proper
definitely
thing
why I
to
did it.
do, the
For
proper
sure.
thing to do there, Hank, when you saw the gearing would have been to turn out instead of in. I think if you had turned out, you probably still could have survived there.
Oh, to the right, yeah, to kind of duck into the island, and yeah, I agree.
Well, you turned right when you saw him. What I'm saying is you turned left. You turned towards him to try to get him in range of your torps, but you didn't have torps ready, so that was kind of a meaningless turn. If you had turned out instead, you would have put more space between you and the gearing, more time to dodgy, that sort of thing. Where the heck did he die? Oh, he's right there. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I can get a double
You
death
might have
pick now.
You might have had the angle just to weave in between the torps.
Exactly. At the very least, it gives you a little bit of room to breathe. But hey, you got the kill anyways. Who cares if you died? Because what matters is, you got the kill for the extra base XP and credits and stuff and things, right? All right, let's get another death pick here. Sometimes it's fun using telephoto because it pulls in your opponent. So something like that. Ooh, I can even read Tromp on the side of the ship. That's cool.
Oh, what a beauty.
Yeah, right? Seriously. All right, there we go. And then we'll grab a couple more as he sinks because this is the end of the battle. So I don't think we're actually going to see any explosion, unfortunately. So
Hey,
he's
Scott,
just going to stop.
Adjust your mic. You're picking up bleed over from Zath.
Oh, I thought I had my mic off. Apologies.
All good. Thanks for catching that one. Appreciate you.
Drowning
Double-
after inting myself with the paid actor flag does feel like it was probably the right choice.
Ha.
Cosmically.
Oh my
Well,
goodness.
You have to give back to the community after Hawaii donated.
Yeah, true.
Now, despite all that, the defense came in first. I hope you send him a compliment. Did you get the proc on the bomb hits? You did. Okay.
Yeah, 2 of them, I think. You get them every 50k. So
Well,
I'm
you got
pretty
the
sure you get-
stacks. Yes, I was looking at you got 50 bomb hits for the other.
Oh,
for
yeah, the
other
other
part
one.
of his
Yeah,
talent. Yeah. Which didn't matter too much because you almost always used the airstrikes on cooldown. But hey, fine, whatever. I don't think there's any stats
Yeah.
here to really highlight.
There was nothing too crazy. I think that like one of the reasons why I liked this one was, well, getting an airstrike on a daring is always fun, but being able to have battle impact on a destroyer that doesn't have a smoke or a hydro or a radar, a lot of the things like the Gdanks and the Gearings and the Shimas, the Z42s, these guys bring a lot to the battle in terms of that. So kind of highlighting a game where I was able to have a pretty good amount of battle impact by being relevant and bumping and not giving my entire ship away and then turning to find caps for my team. I think was like the big takeaway for this one for me is like, you can play a destroyer in such a way, even without those resources, that you can
Yep.
still have a pretty strong battle impact. Even if you don't do 180k, 200k damage, just finding the right targets, being in a roughly the right spot. And like, obviously I made a lot of little mistakes here and there, but generally I feel like I had a pretty good impact on this battle.
Sure.
Also a
Player
little bit of
intuition.
paid actorship too.
My
Yeah.
Venmo was a little lighter after this one for sure.
Well, let's look at the replay. Chad, if there's any ideas for a title, please feel free to share. And then after this replay is done, you guys are going to vote for which should make its way to YouTube.
Yeah,
I was
you were
hoping that
there
Gooden
for
and
the
I were
important
gonna-
fights.
Yeah, I was hoping the Goon and I were going to have a little more coordination on the airstrikes. I was excited to see another randoms Dutchy, but that didn't end up manifesting.
Tromp on them.
Unfortunate. Yeah, for the first engagement, I definitely think putting speed boost there and then trying to gun support the destroyers would have been a fine idea. You had the Z42 going in and probably drawing most of the fire anyways.
Okay.
And
yeah.
Tromp gets improved speed boost, so you can definitely dodge.
Sure. Tromp trumped
Yeah,
with
that's a really good
torpedoes.
point with the Z42. I didn't notice that until the render hit. That's a really good point that he was just soaking all the damage anyway, so I probably could have gotten a little greedier there.
Definitely a good job by not taking the fight against the daring. Especially if you open up there, that would have been really bad.
Yes.
And you also know that because the kite Hawaii died and he's in the div with the Columbo that was nosing towards D, you can reasonably assume that the vampire is out in front of him. I do not want to be running into a vampire daring.
No.
Yep.
Absolutely not. I agree. Wolfie, how about trumped by Torps?
That's good.
Here, yeah, here I think you could have farmed a Thunderer, if you wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Like you would have gotten more damage, and it's possible you might have saved Columbo a little bit.
Yeah, but this did get him some capping XP and also a time extension when the Columbo died.
Capping does not increase your PR.
Oh.
I actually was a little bit worried. So the C move was also because I was a little bit worried about the Holland. It didn't end up manifesting because he just went and grounded. But if the Holland was smarter, he could have threatened the Libertad, the defense. He could have held the C cap. And so I was thinking, I'm a DD that can go and bump the Holland.
Mm-hmm.
So I should go and get myself into a position to respond to him while these other players rotate around from the 10 line. So, but the Holland just ended up grounding in that he died for free, basically. But a part of it was also like, my team is going to need this Holland dealt with to be able to continue to have impact.
That's fine. That's definitely justified too. Also, why is your Sherman shooting that island? Does he have a vendetta against it?
Perhaps. Perhaps. Trump against the
The
Shadow.
locals might have fired a few arrows off of the coast at him, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, we try to stay away from politics in our titles and stuff, but I don't know. I think Trump by Torp seems to be the best choice. What do you think, Hank? Do you like that?
Oh, I love that. That's a good one. Are we saying
Okay.
tromped by Torps as sort of a wordplay, or trumped by Torps as in I got creamed?
Yeah, I was the second.
Yeah, nice. I love them both. I think that's a really good suggestion.
Awesome. All right. Well, Hank, thanks for sending in the replay. That was
Thanks
very
a lot,
good. And
guys.
thanks to all you viewers for voting for this replay to be